strong with the Force you are, young Padawan.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Scevoli TANO show. I'm slowly dying, and I'm here with gods that can't do nothing for me. It's just a hard knock life out there. It's really bad out there. Sunday fun day, and I'm dying, and we have Mortis gods, MortisFM on the show, and they can't do nothing for me. Like, what are these gods for?
Hey, we're not. We got to clarify. We're not You want to know the lore of the MortisFM thing?
Yeah.
I remember the first pitch was that we were just like two random dudes that just got like stuck on Mortis somehow. Unfortunately, we have no abilities in the Force. We're just two guys broadcasting from Mortis. You know how it be. We'll let you know what Balin is up to and everything.
Yeah. That hurts my soul, because like I was thinking I've got gods on the show. Like, they're gonna use their abilities to heal this kid. No, I'm still dying. Thanks.
Unfortunately not.
Sorry, man. It's just the transient.
Cole, if we were,
of it.
who would be who? Who would be the father? Who would be the who'd be the light? Who'd be the dark? Who'd be the middle?
Well,
man.
I'll definitely be the woman. I'll take the woman's side. You know, I'll be the woman.
well, let's go. Let's go.
I'll be the woman because I'm fierce. You know, I got to take it for the team.
That's fair.
Gray said you can be the dad.
Let's go. I do give dad energy.
Yeah, and then Cole's probably the evil one, because I bet you after this he goes in his closet and does like angel rituals with his hands.
And I do that every day actually. Right over there.
Sometimes when we hang out, I'm like.
Sometimes I'm on my ceiling hanging and no one knows where I am. I'm just there, like creepy, like crab crawling, you know.
100%. Here I am, the sun, doing some crazy shit.
Yeah. I wake up, like I told you before the show. I wake up like this, you know. I don't even do much. I just
and Grayson, who I affectionately refer to as my dad,
even though I'm younger than him.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Amazes me every day.
The facial hair, it's misleading.
It does. That's why I shave mine. I can't. I want this baby face for life, you know.
If I shave, I do.
I want people to tell me I'm all right. Like Chris, you're all right. Like, thank you. I know. Right?
Yeah, man, I'm totally in the same boat. I shave off the massive beard that I grow every day.
Just one day, just.
Yeah. He just wakes up and goes, "Damn, Balin's beard."
Oh man, here we go.
Gotta shave that.
That's great.
So, are you fans of the? You're probably. I'm gonna ask this. This is probably a stupid question, but you guys are the fans of the Mortis arc and everything.
No.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, never mind. Sorry, we didn't get that.
No, we love it. We love it. We absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was an interesting. It was honestly, I got to attribute the naming to Cole, because we started right before Ahsoka started. And we've been friends for years. That celebration poster behind me right there is actually where we first met in person. We had known each other a little bit before that. We live kind of far away, but we've been Star Wars fans for a long time, and so we would always get up to our just really good Star Wars discussions. And we used to have a podcast before Mortis, and we would talk about Star Wars on there as well. It wasn't fully Star Wars, but it was a whole lot of pop culture stuff. And so we were sitting there, we were pitching names and everything, and we really liked the idea of incorporating Mortis in there, because of kind of how Mortis kind of is a physical manifestation of the Force, and it's kind of all encompassing, and it's you know, the Force is this like mysterious thing. And so I don't know, the idea, like, we really like the sci-fi side of Star Wars, but we also like the fantasy side of Star Wars, I think. But like, both of those make Star Wars. And so we were like, well, do something with Mortis. And I think Cole just threw out there, he's like, what about like MortisFM? And I think we had it down to like 3 other things. There were 3 in total, and that was one of them. And we were like, I think that's the one we got to go with. So, so I love that arc. And then the reveal at the end of Ahsoka, we were like, the timing on that was crazy. and so we definitely, like, we love our name. So yeah,
it's like a mixture of the mysticism of Star Wars, but also making it casual by saying FM.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like you're listening to the MortisFM.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'll do the dancing and the singing in the background for you guys. Just so you guys.
Yeah, let's get that.
Yeah, we're just on some cave in Mortis, our ship. We're like, I don't know what we got here.
Like I'll even do like an Aladdin thing where I fly on a carpet and go no, you know, like that.
Space carpet.
Yeah,
Ezra?
Yeah.
Do it.
Space Aladdin?
Yeah, you know, I could do that for you guys. Because I think the Mortis, like you guys were saying, the Mortis, like I feel like the Mortis arc is like one of the most important arcs in like Clone Wars, and people sleep on that arc. People don't talk much. People don't even talk about that arc. Like I see on social media, I feel like people put in like, they talk about this one, they talk about that arc, but they don't talk about the Mortis arc, which I think it's so important. Like,
yeah,
it's like Anakin is like the chosen one. We know he is, and he's with the father, and the father wants him to take his place, but he can't do it because he doesn't want to leave people behind. To me personally, I would have left everybody behind. I was a peace, motherfuckers. Peace. See you later. You know, I would have been doing that, but he did not. And then the daughter at the end of Ahsoka, you see her head is missing. To me, like I always said this, I always say Ahsoka is like the light side of the Force. You know, the daughter is in Ahsoka, which we saw brought her back to life.
Yeah.
And then I think Anakin is the father, and then the son. I don't know. I don't think it's Balin. I really don't think it's Balin.
Should be circular.
I wish.
Yeah, it actually looked like Sam Witwer. If you really look at it, like it looks like Sam Witwer. And I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up. Maybe in the next season of Ahsoka, or
I would love that,
or another series, you know, animation, whatever you want to do with it. Yeah. But I think with Balin like now gone, like R.I.P. Ray Stevenson. I like Balin's character. It's hard to bring that character back to life now. You know, like you left him off like great, and we didn't expect him to pass. You know, we didn't expect that. And then you leave this whole arc now, like, oh, all right, now Balin, what are we gonna do now? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna do with this guy that his character shocked the nation, shocked the Star Wars nation, because he was just how he talked, how his mannerisms were, how he was this, how he was that, was so amazed, and he did a great job. Like, how do you do that? Now in season 2, you recast him. Or you just say, oh, we don't show Balin. He's off in the distant continent of the world. You know, he's doing his thing, you know. Or you recast him, which I don't think they should. But that's Star Wars probably will.
I think they're going to have to recast him, especially with the announcement of Ahsoka Season 2 and the sketch that we got from Dave of Ahsoka and Sabine on the hand that Balin was left off at. And personally, like, While Balin was one of my standout characters, not even just within the past year, but within the new Star Wars canon in general. Like, I love his character. I think they're gonna have to recast him, because I would be a little upset if they didn't continue that storyline. If they just it's too ripe for potential for them to just kind of like let it fizzle out. And so there's been some rumblings of like, or some fan castings as a couple different people. I think whatever ends up happening, they'll, you know, that person will understand the legacy that Ray Stevenson left behind, not even just as Balin, but as other characters. What was his character in The Mandalorian guy? I'm thinking Finn Rao, but that's not him. The guy, Gar Saxon. Yeah, and so it's like he's been part of this kind of Star Wars community for a little bit. So whoever they cast, I trust Dave, but I mean, yeah, it's extremely unfortunate what happened, and Ray Stevenson was he was my favorite part of Ahsoka. It's kind of crazy that in Ahsoka wasn't the most interesting part about the show. It was the villains, which, I mean, that's cool that it's like, you know, you think about other Star Wars projects, like how often is it that the side characters are more interesting, at least in more recent years, than like the main characters. So it's a good testament to their writing, both Balin and Shin. But either way, I'm stoked in whatever direction they go. And I agree with you. I think Ahsoka is being prepped to fully go into that daughter role. You know, considering that Morai has been with her this entire time, and the head is gone, and Dave has been like, you know, I don't really know why people say that, you know, she's dead by the time of Rise of Skywalker. Like, that gives me an indication that she is maybe transcended into something else within the next 30 years after that timeline. But who knows? I'm along for the ride.
I think like on the side of Balin, in order to serve the original story that they were trying to write with him, I think it would be better to recast him. However, I've also kind of thought, well, if they, just in case they didn't want to, they could make it interesting where you just, like season 2 is basically Ahsoka and Sabine following Balin's trail, but they never, but it's never really found out where he went or what he did. I think it would be interesting if they decided to go that route, to just make it a complete mystery as to whether he succeeded or he failed in what he was doing.
Yeah.
But you know what they know is that he's just no longer there. Which, you know, I think that could be an interesting way to leave it off. Like they could find their own thing, like you know, wherever this glowing light in the distance is, they could find out what that is. But for whatever reason, you know, what happened to Balin? What was he searching for? Did he find it? Did he not? I don't know. It could be interesting.
Yeah. And the second thing you got to look at, where did he go? You know, where did he find those statues? You know, where did he just like did a Goku and went like instant transmission and then like went there? Like, like how did he find the statues? Unless, because he was talking about something greater. Something is coming. Something is coming. So who is coming? You know? It's not me. I'm not coming. You know? I'm not,
my theory on it, and I'll get theoretical here, that I do think the way Balin portrays himself and the way he acts, and in terms of his balance and the light side and the dark side, he definitely gives off like, well, and that final shot, and I don't really see a whole lot of people talk about this, but it's like, I know people notice it, is that throughout the entire show, his cloak is entirely black. He wears a lot of black and gray clothing, but by the end of it, when he's on the palm of the father, he is... his cloak is different because he had lost it in the fight with Ahsoka or whatever, and his cloak is on the son side, it's black, but on the daughter's side, it's like lighter colors. It's like a brown, light brown kind of color, and he's standing directly in the palm of the father. And even when you like look kind of at the father's face and Balin's face, it kind of gives me the impression that I think what Balin is trying to do is become the new father. I think what he wants to do is, you know, something greater than, just, you know, ruling the galaxy or whatever, because that's failed. Empires rise and fall, the Jedi rise and fall. He's tired of that cycle. He wants to break that. What he wants is something that permeates the galaxy much more than on a physical sense, but on a spiritual sense. And so I personally think, like, if we're going by the lore in Legends, because Mortis is honestly, like, after, when it got created in the Clone Wars, it was only in Legends for a few years before Disney bought it out, like 3 years. And so they had the lore on that is still only about 10, 11 years old. So if you're going by that, like, the main theory with the Mortis gods was that they were people, they were Force users who transcended into these Force beings. And so if we're going by that logic, I think that Balin is absolutely trying to do that and fill that void. And, you know, because the void has been gone for a while. It's been gone for 20 plus years. So,
I mean, you're definitely, I think you're definitely onto something, because what they were supposed to be is Celestials. And the story of the Celestials was that they were once potentially very humanoid, very man-like, you know, human-like, that managed to transcend to a different type of being. And so if you think about that, and you think about Balin talking about how he was basically inspired by the old stories that were used to be told in the temple, aka potentially Celestials, right? It all kind of starts to fit together. Yeah. So
it's all connected.
Yeah, if you put all the pieces together, it is going to be connected. You know, it'll go, okay. I actually like that theory. Like the father will be Balin, you know, but who will be his children?
Yeah,
you know,
that's
the bigger question.
That also makes me think. I think Balin's goal is to become the father, but I think he will ultimately fail. You know, I think personally, and I'm just coming up with this on the fly, like, you know, people, when they talk about the sequels, they get often upset that, like, oh, Anakin brought balance back to the Force, but then the Emperor comes back at 30 years or whatever, like, and the balance is upset. For some context, Cole and I and a group of other really good friends of ours, we have a monthly live stream called Tales from the Archives, and it is a monthly book club. And so the first book we have been covering has been Plagueis, and Plagueis mentions a little bit of the Celestials, but it also talks a lot about midichlorians and the way that the Force, like when you try to mess with it too much in the wrong direction, it bites back. It like, for an example, Plagueis does these experiments on these creatures. He's trying to like use the Force to create life, to impregnate them through the Force without actually like real conception. And when that happens, the Force, at least in a lot of times, bites back and it kills those creatures. It poisons them. They end up dying and rotting and decaying because the Force is like, you ain't supposed to do that.
No,
yeah, exactly. So my thought is that like if Baylan is trying to he's trying to fill this role that maybe the Force, you know, whatever happens in Ahsoka, the Force bites back and it's like, yeah, well, the balance has been messed up again. And that's where you lead into people like the Force Dyad with Ben and Rey, and then Palpatine inevitably coming back. And although Palpatine is also trying to cheat death, I mean, what we see in Bad Batch with him, the cloning, and even in Mandalorian with like the weird creatures in the tubes, and ultimately what we see in Rise of Skywalker with Snoke, like he ends up kind of doing exactly what Plagueis was doing. And I know Plagueis is technically Legends, but a lot of it still fits into canon. Nothing has been written out of it yet. So it's interesting to go and look at all of these pieces of media, both from canon and Legends, and kind of try to connect the dots and see what they're going to bring in, what they're going to change, what inspiration was made. But I think this is now the time where this era, this kind of in between, with Ahsoka and Mandalorian, is where you have a lot of potential to not fix the sequels, but make things make sense, you know?
Add some filling to make it sweeter. Just like the Clone Wars.
You think about you think about the Clone Wars and how people had a lot of issues in Revenge of the Sith with Anakin's fall, how it felt very abrupt, and people were like, wait, how did he get from, like, you know, he had these dark seeds, but like where he's just cool with choking his wife out now, you know, like
he's just gonna go fight his master regularly, like
like it was
a sandwich at lunch and like let's go fight for a sandwich, you know?
So the idea that like they were in the original trilogy, they're like, oh, the Clone Wars, and then you just didn't get to see it. You didn't get those years of context of what's happening to Ahsoka. Anakin. He's becoming this general. He's becoming, you know, more jaded, and the Jedi are becoming more jaded and dogmatic, and they're failing him. It's just, it's that show did so much for those characters, and so it sucks that this is becoming a trend where, like, the movies will come out, and then they're like, yeah, we didn't really flesh that out too much, so now we got to come out with all these companion pieces to fix them. But hey, I guess that's the nature of Star Wars, so I'm okay.
They do it backwards.
Yes.
They give us something, like they give what can I say? Like they give us Rey. We don't know who Rey is. You know, we know she's a scavenger and that's it. And then she becomes Rey Palpatine. But now she's Rey Skywalker. Like that's like
it's they do a bunch of like soft retcons essentially, to just kind of clean it up a little bit.
I mean, we got news recently that the Palpatine, that her being a Palpatine thing was allegedly was a last minute thing, like to the day of shooting, like that she didn't even. And it's just when it like. I try to be pretty non-biased in these things. Like when people were like, oh, the sequel should have had a plan. I was like, well, the original trilogy did not fully have a plan. Like there were some ideas, but like, for example, Leia was never supposed to be Luke's sister. Right. And then at last minute, they were like, by, you know, episode 6, they're like, actually, yeah, she is. And you're like,
let's do it.
Wait, what happened in episode 5 where they kissed? But it's like, but the sequel was like, there wasn't even an inkling of a plan, you know, like they were like, let's get a different writer and different director for every movie. Like at the very least, like with both the prequels and the originals, George Lucas was the visionary behind all of those. And yes, he had people to help him out and execute that vision. The sequels had nothing. They had no one person to back that. Like, I think if the sequels are made today, you know, you would have people like Dave and John. I mean, those two people alone could, I think, even if they weren't directors, if they weren't the writers, if they were just the producers who kind of helped the continuation of that story, I think the sequels, even if they were helmed by different directors and writers, still would have had a lot more continuity within them. So it's just, yeah.
I think it's definitely good news at the very least that Dave Filoni is now just the creative lead. You know, like there is going to, there's always going to be some form of inconsistencies within stories, especially, you know, just given who's directing it, who's producing it, XYZ. But if we have someone that is overseeing everything creatively, trying to make it all kind of go in the same direction, that's what makes it work. That's why, even though the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, sometimes it was like, oh, that was a weird decision, all of it was made by one person who was trying to do one thing, you know? So yeah, definitely right.
Yeah, because I think, because no one likes the sequels. No one likes 7, 8, or 9. You know, I've watched them. You know, I watched them. I'm not big fans of them. You know, I'm not the biggest Rey fan. Kylo Ren, I'm not a big fan of them. Ahsoka is like my favorite. I think we can all tell by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Ahsoka's great. I love Ahsoka.
We love her. Now I was gonna back to where we were getting with Balin. Now he's a villain. Who are you guys loving as villains? Who is your favorite Star Wars villain?
Yeah, he's already got it on the shirt.
I can't
This guy right here, General Grievous.
Oh, I was like, I can't even see that.
Yeah, Cole is nothing but consistent in his loving of droids and metallic murder robots. Whether it's Grievous or IG-88 or IG-11 or whatever droid, but Grievous,
HK-47.
HK-47, bro.
IG-12. You know, I throw IG-12 in there.
Yeah. So the thing is like, especially in canon, Grievous is pretty simple. He's kind of one note. He's like, you know, I'm just gonna kill all of the Jedi. You know, he's exactly. Mustache twirly. But as a kid, I thought that a cyborg wielding 4 lightsabers, moving them around like a propeller, was like the coolest thing in the world. I always wanted to play as Grievous. I wanted the Grievous action figures. I wanted the, you know, all of those little things. I played as him in the Lego Complete Saga all the time. I don't know what it is. Like, if you know me, you like my love for complexity of character. But then there is one outlier that is like so far away from the rest, called General Grievous, that I'm just like, yes, give me the murder bot. I love it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's great to me. And then on the other side, you got my favorite hero, Obi-Wan, which is just so complex, but
yes.
Yeah.
One of the best characters
in
Star Wars.
We support Obi-Wan love around here, you know? Jesus.
Man, I find it like, I could go the simple route and just say Vader, but I feel like everybody loves Vader, so I'm not gonna say that because it's just
I don't love Vader. Don't worry, I don't love Vader.
What? Maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah, screw the other question. Yeah, I don't like Darth Vader.
Why?
Because he took my Anakin. You know.
But he's still in there. You know, they're still good in him.
Like I always say, like
no one's ever really gone.
Yeah, I'd say they're 2 different people. You know, Vader is this killer, vicious, like he'll kill you, and then burn you, you know, he don't really care. Anakin, like you watch Anakin's story, and that's why the Clone Wars, like back to the Clone Wars, is very important for Anakin's story. You know, we see how he loves others. We see how he was with Ahsoka. You know, we see how he was with Obi-Wan, you know. Even he had those bad, dark tendencies, you know, you could see in the Clone Wars, but you just couldn't, he was like, okay, he did it for a purpose. He wanted to protect others. He wanted to protect Ahsoka. And in reality, Padme is, I feel like she's not really, he loved Padme, we get that, but Padme wasn't really in the Clone Wars as much. You know, we see their story in Revenge of the Sith more in Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace. You know, we get that story. But now, okay, he loves Padme, but let's take it to Ahsoka now. You know, now that's the story we want because we never thought he had a Padawan. You know, he never in the movies. Who is Ahsoka? Like, we don't know who that is. And they tie and then she's in Tales of the Jedi at Padme's funeral, which we didn't know. You know, she was there, and then Rex was there also. And now you put her back in the Clone Wars with Anakin as her master, and you see their dynamic. You see how they are with each other, sister and brother combination. You see that she protects him. He protects her, you know, and then you get this evil because no one could believe Anakin is this evil person. So you get now Darth Vader. Now we get a little Darth Vader if Obi-Wan didn't chop his legs off. You know, we get that in Ahsoka and see how powerful he would have been. He would have been, oh my God, he would have been a god. Like he would have been great. He would have been untouchable. If that's he would have been untouchable. But with Vader. I think it's like he's a sad cyborg. Like
yes.
Like it's like he's sad. Like he doesn't like Palpatine. He doesn't like he hates his guts.
He hates him, yeah.
Like and then he hates everybody else. But everybody else is like, to me, I feel like Ahsoka and even with Obi-Wan when they cut each the left and right mask off, like each part of the mask. You know, Ahsoka at least said, like, I won't leave you. Not this time. Yeah. And then he, like, actually, like, stunned, like, he got stunned. Because I feel like if there's a what-if situation, I think he would have turned back. You know, I think he would have done that because he didn't hate Ahsoka. He loved Ahsoka. He never hated her. Obi-Wan, I understand you cut his legs off. Like, I get that. Like, with the Padme situation, too, you thought, like, they were doing stuff on the down low, you know, because they were Obi-Wan and Padme were close, like they were friends. They were friends. But I think back to Darth Vader, like I'm not a big fan of him because it's like it's like weird for me. Like it's seeing him evil, but I don't want him evil, you know. I don't. Like I don't want like. It's not that I hate Darth Vader. Like Darth Vader is the biggest villain in all of villain history, you know. Like. It's weird for me because that's also my favorite character underneath that.
Yeah.
It's a very sad reminder of what Anakin has become. Like
when he burned Obi-Wan. Like, and we didn't get with Ahsoka, we didn't get him being so vile with Ahsoka. You know, we saw him fight. We saw, even with Boba, like, he liked Boba Fett. He kept Boba by his side, just like with Rex. Yeah. He kept Rex by his side. So, like, Anakin wasn't fully gone with certain situations. I think it's like you can go with it or you don't have to go with it. It's like, do I go on this roller coaster or I don't? These are the consequences if I go on the roller coaster, and these are not. Yeah. You know? And I think that's what he was playing with sometimes. I know we didn't see that, but I think you could tell from the mannerisms of Vader that, okay, Boba Fett, he was a clone. Who does that remind him of? Rex. You know, he had his Inquisitors, but he really didn't like the Inquisitors. He really didn't. All right, they're good. You know, we just shipped them out. Like, okay, Grand, okay, sister, okay, go there. He didn't care. Then he had to come in and finish the work because they couldn't finish it. You know, and whatever Darth Vader was doing on Mustafar, you know, whatever he was doing on his little castle, you know, we don't know that. We just read through the comics if you read the comics. But yeah, I think it's like what you said, Grayson, it's a sad reminder, or Cole said it. It's a sad reminder of Anakin. And like, I don't like that because Anakin wasn't that evil. He wasn't. Like, if you really throw it down the line, the only thing I could say of him turning and him not trusting the Jedi no more was not to rank him master. But in reality, he was already master.
Yeah,
he was Ahsoka's master. You can't give a Padawan if they're not the master. You know, it's like me having a son and not claiming my son. Like, oh yeah, that's not my son, but Chris, it is your son. No, it's not. Here's the lie. Here's the test. Oh shit, it's my son. You know, and then, oh really, I'm a father. Da, da, da. Just like with Anakin. Oh, you're not ranked master. Yeah. How can I be on the council and not ranked master? But in the movie, we didn't have the Padawan.
Yeah.
Now you get Ahsoka. It's like complex. It's like, okay, like you said earlier, missing pieces are getting added up. But that's the biggest missing piece because he had a Padawan. He is a master. You know,
Yeah.
he was on the council. Everybody on the council is Master Windu, Master Yoda, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Aayla Secura. You know, all those were masters. And now with Anakin, it's like, why am I not a master? Like, I am a master.
It's interesting, I think, and I'd have to do some research on this, but from what I understand, like, well, no, because even in Attack of the Clones, I was going to say, it's always been interesting to me that, like, even though you are only ranked as a Jedi Knight, you're allowed to, like, it's like a weird technicality because you're not a Jedi Master. You're not on the council, but you are somebody's Jedi Master, if that makes sense. Like, you're like, oh, I'm allowed to train a Padawan at Knight level. And for someone like Obi-Wan, who, he was a Padawan until, like, he was 27, you know? Anakin was a Jedi Knight, became a Jedi Knight before the age of 21. You know, like, and
like when the Clone Wars started, right? I think.
Literally, as soon as Attack of the Clones, he's a Jedi Knight, and then 3 years later, like, I will say, like, I'm like, Anakin's pride got the better of him a little bit because he was like, oh, I want to be a master. It's like, bro, you're already on the, like, what Obi-Wan says is right. Like, you're the fastest someone's ever become a knight, and you're already on the council, which is irregular, you know, like, because we're in this war, right? But yeah, like, I will say that, I mean, that is the biggest thing with, you know, his fall, right? That I ultimately chalk it up to is the way the Jedi treated him, the way that that he had to keep everything secret, that he was too afraid to even, you know, open up about his relationship with Padme. Like, had the Jedi been truly, you know, had they, in a weird way, like, had they been compassionate towards him, you know, even if he had to leave the council, if they're like, hey, you can't be part of the Jedi anymore, but, like, we still welcome you with open arms. We're here to support you, you know? That's the thing, is, like, that was what Palpatine used against him to create that fall. The same thing with Dooku, is like, they used the dogma and the flaws of the Jedi to ultimately lead them to ruin. So it's, and I mean, it's so intriguing, like, to see that even, you know, going back to, like, we've been reading Plagueis, you're still seeing those teases of, like, oh, the Jedi, even in, like, this isn't a new thing. Like, in the prequel era of the Jedi, they were losing their way even in Legends. And so that's a consistent thing throughout Legends and canon that George was setting up of, like, hey, the Jedi are not who they should be right now. But with your Vader thing, like, that's honestly a very valid point. Like, Vader is a very bittersweet character because it's like, I loved it. Like, I love me a good villain. I love to see Vader wreck house, you know, but, like, at its core, it is a sad reminder, you know, and but he's such a compelling character. I think it's up to the viewer whether they want to differentiate, like, Anakin and Vader as one person, or kind of like, hey, they're two separate characters. In my opinion, like, even though they are, like, two stark, you know, ends, polar opposite contrast, like, Vader is still integral to Anakin's story, and that's why I kind of like make it one connective through line. But yeah, I mean, that news of the possible What If show, there's so much they could do with just Anakin alone, you know. They are, one would say that the actions of Anakin and the actions of Vader, it feels like two entirely separate people. But the sad reminder is there because when you watch Vader doing these things, that is Anakin making those mistakes. And I think, Grayson's right, where it just kind of adds to the complexity of Anakin's character when you realize, you know, the same kid that said in The Phantom Menace, you know, one of the biggest problems in the galaxy is that no one helps each other, to watching him, you know, slaughter Jedi and rebels and all that sorts of stuff. Like, you're watching a tyrant.
Yeah, you're watching a demon in pain, you know. And you want him to, like, especially people who have seen the prequels, you know, you want him to come back to the light side, which is why, you know, it is all the more fulfilling when that happens in Return of the Jedi. So I think it just creates, you know, the full character arc. I don't know, like, he's a great character. So I mean, ultimately, to go back to the original question, Grayson, I think it's okay if you want to say that he's your favorite villain, because everyone likes him for a reason. He's great. I will, like, Vader is very close, and on some days I think I would put him at #1, but through our discussion and me thinking as well, I'm gonna go, and this is also kind of basic, but I don't even care. I'm gonna have to go with Darth Maul.
or just Maul
I
in general.
love that devil.
Yeah, he is like, I will preach it till the end of time. Within the like the best thing that the new canon in Star Wars has done has what they did to Maul. Like how complex his character is, all the way from before the Phantom Menace, all the way to his death in Rebels and everything in between, especially in Clone Wars. Like, I don't care that they brought him back. Some people are like, oh, it's dumb they bring back characters that died. Like, in the context of Clone Wars, it makes sense. The idea that he is like, all right, I'm not a Sith anymore. Like, I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to lead this criminal syndicate. And then ultimately where we see him in the Siege of Mandalore, where he is preparing an army so that he can combat Palpatine. Like, having a dark side user, like, but also for the better of the galaxy, to like save the galaxy is extremely interesting. And I saw a clip with you where you were talking with Star Wars Sith with Tony, and like, I would love a what if Ahsoka did actually join Maul, because like I would love to just see what would happen in that scenario, because Ahsoka was going to. She was going to join. The only hesitation that why she stopped, she was like, okay, I'll join you, but what do you want to do with Anakin? And he was like, I'm going to kill him. Like, Anakin he's the key to it all. Like, he will destroy everything. I was trying to lure him here so I could kill him. And it's just interesting that it's like that Darth Maul is using his dark side aspirations, but for something that's like, in a way, pretty more like morally good, if you want to say. Like, he was trying to help the galaxy, and it's just interesting. It's the
enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation.
Yes.
Like Maul is basically, if you want to think about it in like Star Wars Battlefront 1, like early 2000s terms, you have the team with the green command post, you have the team with the red command post, but every now and then you'll have a team with yellow command post where they're doing their own thing. Yeah. It would be really interesting if this potential Star Wars What If show was done in the Clone Wars art style with those actors. I think that would be really great. Like, imagine the Clone Wars voice actors in the What If show.
Yeah,
I would totally be.
I mean, with Bad Batch ending, like, that's the way to do it. You know,
yeah, totally.
And also for them to branch out that animation style into original trilogy era and sequel trilogy era.
Oh yes,
High Republic era, Old Republic era,
let's go.
Just that art style itself with the Clone Wars has become so iconic. And listen, I love the Rebels art style. I think it's super unique, but I don't see in any world that they're going to finally stray away from that Clone Wars art style. Like, even anything that has been made pertaining to Rebels characters, like, for example, in Bad Batch, Kanan and Hera both show up. It's Clone Wars animation style, you know, it's connecting it to Rebels. So, but it's so good. Like, the technology has come so far, especially with Clone Wars Season 7 and all we've got in Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi, and even the one episode that we got in Visions, where it was very heavy Clone Wars animation style. Like, it just looks so beautiful. The technology has come so far. If you go back and look where they're at in Season 1, they got weird bug eyes and stuff. Like, it's kind of funny, but now the lighting and the smoke effects,
it's become so refined.
Yeah.
So why not?
Team animation all the way. Like,
animation does, like, I'm so glad that the Clone Wars has done so much for Star Wars, because, like, listen, I love live action stuff, but the animation gives you a lot of breathing room. And allows you to cover a lot of ground. And, you know, like in a case for like a passing of a character like Ray Stevenson, right? Like, you know, you can make an animated version of that character and still like have an actor voice him, you know, like, and that's super cool. Like, that's why I want Tales of the Jedi, like, to cover, you know, those teenage years for Kanan and Balin as a Jedi Master. I mean, there's so much you could do with that art style. So, yeah, I love all of Star Wars, but the like
animation, team animation, Grayson, come on board.
We'll see. I like them both. That's the thing, is I just love all of Star Wars. You know, even the things that I don't love, I still love begrudgingly.
I still talk bad about them, but I still love them.
Yeah, like, that's the thing is, at the end of the day, that's kind of what Mortis, why we created Mortis, is like, you know this, I'm sure. There is a lot of negative talk and space in the Star Wars community, and like there is nothing wrong with having your own opinion, with having your own preferences, with critiquing things, but it's
how you do
it's like being able to talk and like, you know, say like you like the like animation is your thing. That's awesome. Like I love that. Whereas like I like certain things and I don't like other things. Like for example, I know there's a lot of people that like they don't like Andor, and that's fine. Like Andor is not for everybody, but I mean Cole and I, we love Andor, right? So it's just being able to kind of have that freedom and also being able to like talk with one another and being like, well, I prefer this and versus I prefer this, and still being able to kind of like coexist. Shameless plug for some of our friends here. You should go listen to Beyond the Dune Sea's newest episode because they talked about some of their Star Wars hot takes with Matt from the Star Wars Time Show. And that one, I was in the comments the whole time, and they did spit out some hot takes. But at the end of the day, we're all still friends. Like, I don't care if, like, you know, because Seth doesn't like Qui-Gon, I got to bring that up. Like, that's fine. That's up to him, you know? So I like that we can all, if it's a testament to true, you know, maturity, and I think just overall character if you're able to like have just it's Star Wars. It's about space wizards and dudes in white armor with pew pew guns and like in weird planets and creatures. Like it ain't that deep, you know? Like obviously we love this thing and we want it to have the best quality possible, but like Star Wars has a troubled legacy of some goofy things, you know, the holiday special, the Ewok movies, you know.
There's something for everybody, you know.
Exactly.
And not everybody's gonna like everything Star Wars puts out, you know.
Exactly. You can't please everybody.
Yeah, you could put out the best animated show. I bet you someone in the comments will say, "Well, this was off. This is off." Or you do live action, well, this was off and this was off.
Yeah, I can't look at comic sections anymore, man.
I don't even do that no more either. I just like the video. I go, this is a great edit. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I don't have time for like, yeah, I might not like all the live action stuff. You know, I'm not a big fan of live action. I'm not. I love animation because you can tell more story, more depth. You don't have 8 episodes like you do in live action. Like back to what we were saying about our favorite villains. My favorite villain is Thrawn. I love
Thrawn. I like Thrawn.
Very good choice.
I love Thrawn, and to me, he's not really a villain. Like he's like a Darth Maul complex character. You know, I'm not saying like Darth Maul. Yeah, he killed people. Thrawn, we didn't see him kill anybody really. Like we didn't really.
He killed Kanan, not really, but kind of.
Really. And I don't think he was going to kill
Kanan by proxy.
Yeah. He just like shot it by mistake. Like, oh, Kanan! Oh, damn it, man! Oh,
yeah. Technically, was it Price or whatever? Governor Price is her name.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she's the worst.
Yeah, I hate her.
Definitely. But with Thrawn, like you see him in Rebels, you read his books. I'm a big Thrawn. I love Thrawn. Mm-hmm. I think he's like that character. Well, he's like, yeah, I'm coming over for dinner tonight. And then shows up like right on time and the food is not even cooked. Like he like, oh, you're cooking lasagna. How did I know that? You know, like he just knows he just knows what you're gonna do. Like I don't know how. Like he's not even a Force user. Like he just knows like every step.
I mean, he's like I've always been told through this, there was a guy that I watched for a long time and he would always describe Thrawn as basically evil Sherlock Holmes, like, and Pelion, at least in Legends, was kind of was it Watson, right?
Yeah.
And so like that together they're like, oh, they're Holmes and Watson, you know, and it's a very cool dynamic to have in a Imperial Grand Admiral to be like, he is all up here.
Yeah, and he like. And you read his books, and now you have the comics out now. Like he teamed with Darth Vader. He knows Anakin Skywalker. You know, he knows that. And then I was very surprised when in Ahsoka, he was like, Ahsoka's master was Anakin Skywalker. Like, how did you not know that? Like, you know, like, how did you like? Are you in like what? Like, how did you not know that Ahsoka Tano was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan? Yeah. You had to do your research on Anakin. You knew Anakin was Darth Vader. You knew that. But you didn't know, like, that to me, and that brings back to live action. Like, with Ahsoka, that show, like, I love Ahsoka Tano. She's, like, my god. Like, I love her. I do love her. Like, she saved my life a couple times. You know, she was there for me when I really needed her. You know, like even with Ashley, that's why I love Ashley's Ahsoka so much.
She's great.
Yeah, she brought so much. You know, she's my Ahsoka forever. Like with the Ahsoka series, like Thrawn, he wasn't that Thrawn we saw in Rebels. You know,
there was a little bit of a disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like he talked to Sabine like, oh yeah, you're Sabine Wren. Yeah, okay, bye. Yeah. Like he didn't really care. He didn't mention, oh, your friend. Like he didn't mention and no Keenan mentions at all either. Like only one time, you know, like with Keenan with Ezra. Like I wanted some more Keenan references. You know, like that was Ezra's master. You know, what was Ezra doing? You know, and you could tell that all in animation with 15, 16 episodes. You could tell all that.
Yeah.
You could tell where Ezra and Thrawn has been for the last 5 years since the end of Rebels. You could tell.
I think we're gonna get that at some point. I think we have to get the story of when they get to Peridia and what kind of happens throughout those. Because it's like how's the Jedi?
Yeah, it's like Thrawn's like, yeah, he's out there somewhere. I don't know if he's dead though. How don't you know Ezra? You had to keep tabs on this guy. Like you had to be like, okay, he's there. I have my watchers because you have the night troopers watching him or someone else watching. Yeah, you know, so
it is a little strange that my favorite piece was when he was like immediately knew who Baylan Skoll was, but even then, like, I mean, I like that Thrawn ultimately wins. He does get away, but like also Ezra was just stowing away on his ship and he just like didn't know. You know, it's just there's some weird little contrivances that you're like, okay,
Thrawn might have gotten a little rusty, you know.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of his ferocity and his tactician mindset, especially in whatever Dave is cooking with his movie. Because I mean, in Rebels, like. And I haven't watched Rebels in a while, just because I'm really bad about rewatching TV shows. It is a goal of mine to rewatch it this year because Kanan is my favorite character. But he's the GOAT. But Thrawn in that show is like, I remember when that got announced. I don't remember. Did it get announced the year? I think it was 2016. I think it was for season 3 that he popped up. And I remember being like, wow, like he's phenomenal in this show. Like that was a really cool and interesting through line that they did there, but I just don't think we got enough of him in Ahsoka to be. I think you're right, Cole. Like I think he got a little rusty. Like he's been focusing on trying to make this connection with the Great Mothers, and then whatever's going on with the Night Troopers. We still don't really know what they were loading onto the ship.
Yeah, and everybody, like even with Ahsoka, like you watch the show and people still fear Thrawn. Mm-hmm. Like you see that fear in the people, like. Thrawn, he's supposed to be dead. Like, no, he's still alive. And we're trying to tell you that, but like, you're not listening to us. You just think that this is like, and I think that's going into Dave Filoni's movie, like the heir to the Empire. You know, because he is like, and we get mention of him in Mandalorian. You know, we get Thrawn's name. You know, do we get Pelion? Yeah, we get Pelion.
Pelion is in season 3.
Season 3, right? Yeah, we got him. And then. Like, what about the Chiss Ascendancy? You know?
Yeah.
Like, where's Arlani? You know, where is that? Like, he wants to protect the Chiss, which he wants the Empire away from the Chiss Ascendancy. He wants don't touch, no, that's my home world. We're not doing that. Like, I'll work for you, but don't kill my people. And I think now, where is his people? Like, because he said, I'll probably be there months, rotations, whatever, in the book. But where are you now? Where are your Chiss Ascendancy now? Are they still in Sheila? Where are they? Yeah. You know, are they on Dathomir? Are they waiting for you on Dathomir? You know, what is this big? Because everybody's saying something dark is coming. And I don't think it's just Thrawn. I think you go to, like, he's not a Force user. You could just shank him in his stomach.
Yuuzhan Vong?
Yeah. You know, like, who is this threat? Because you're having a threat before the sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. You know, you're having that big threat, and then the First Order takes its place. So, who is this threat? Because I don't think it's Thrawn. Like, it can't be just Thrawn. To me, Thrawn is big. absolutely. He's smart. He's blue. He has red eyes. He has nice hairdos. You know, but who is that other big threat that everybody's saying? Because, like I said, Ahsoka's there. Ahsoka's not there, but she's gonna get back to the galaxy. She will. Mm-hmm. Sabine now is a Jedi, which I don't like, but it's okay. I'll get over it. And then you have Shan still on the planet with Ahsoka and Sabine. You have Ezra with Hera. Mm-hmm. You have, and then reality, you have Luke out there still. You have probably other Jedis that we don't know about out there. You know, like what is it? We have Mando. Like, and those shows are supposed to come together for the movie, you know? So you're going up against just Thrawn, you could just shoot him. Like, in reality...
I guess they gotta figure out where he's at first, because, I mean, Ezra... It depends on when Ezra dipped out of Thrawn's ship, but, like, I don't know if he knows that they're at Dathomir, because he took a little shuttle, right? So, but yeah, it's... Whatever Thrawn is doing, I think it connects to the Night Sisters, because, I mean, he's befriended the Great Mothers, and they kind of do his bidding, and they've loaded all these caskets on there, and yeah, he still has some stormtroopers, and we had the Imperial Warlords, but he's not really kind of in tandem with them, which I like, unless he's going to just set them all straight, which would be pretty interesting, but whatever he's doing, he's going to have to assemble a greater army, and I think that was something that he always did in Legends, right? Is he was being able to like assemble this great force to combat the New Republic. So I think whatever he's doing on Dathomir has to be the tie to that. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, yeah, you can kill him, but you got to be able to get to him first, like you know. And so that's the thing is, I mean, he's pretty. He is quite literally the brains of their organization right now, and so. It's gonna be tough. I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see what he ends up doing. But whatever. I mean, Dave Filoni is a huge Thrawn fan, and he's a huge fan of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. But it is interesting that they have made no acknowledgement of the Chiss ascendancy. Like, it kind of just feels like, yeah, that doesn't exist. Like,
yeah, we just wrote books about it, but we don't really care.
Yeah, that's another thing that I have issues with in terms of new canon is sometimes they don't always respect the other material that has happened, because I know it locks them in a box, but like that's one of even in Legends that was one of Thrawn's thing was the Chiss ascendancy, and it's just kind of like we haven't talked about them yet, maybe we will, who knows, like I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of loose threads.
Yeah,
but Thrawn's my favorite villain.
He's great.
Thrawn, he's like my god. Like, even Ahsoka, like when Thrawn talks, like I listen to him, like you can kill me.
Thrawn has, I mean, his ability to be able to like look at artwork in terms of, like the Kalakori,
and that's what I love, because I love artwork. I have so many like Clone Wars, Ahsoka posters and stuff like that. Not around my room because I don't have the wall space, but like all that, like even the Rebels artwork and stuff like that. Like I have like all that because because the artwork tells stories too. Yeah. Not just like you can look at art and paint your own picture to it. But with Thrawn, he paints his picture, but he's right about it.
Yeah. He uses it as a strategy.
Yeah. And he uses it to his strategy because, like you see in Rebels, like, that's art. Like, don't touch it. Don't disrespect it. Because that, just like Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's like, I like Jar Jar Binks because he's helpful, but he's an idiot. But I respect him. I respect him because he's going to help us. Like, everybody's like, oh, Jar Jar. Like, we hate, like, he's an idiot. But Qui-Gon... We love Qui-Gon here. We support Qui-Gon. And then look at him, with the Jar Jar Binks. He loved Jar Jar Binks. Not really, but he like, okay. Like, yeah, like, you're good. You're funny. You're my little pet, Yeah. And then we see him in Clone Wars and he just messes everything up. We see him mess everything up. But people are patient with him because they know how he is. And they always, I feel like, even with Padme with Jar Jar, like, she might not know Qui-Gon like that very well, but she respected Qui-Gon as a Jedi to respect Jar Jar Binks because she knew how Jar Jar helped with the Naboo War and everything in the Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
Jar Jar unsung hero until he gave emergency powers to Palpatine, but hey, that ain't his fault. He just was doing what he thought was best.
Now the biggest question is in Star Wars and Galaxy, where is Jar Jar?
He's on Naboo being a little jester, man.
Yeah, he's doing like street tricks, literally.
That was in a book. I think it was in the third Aftermath book, or maybe it was from a certain point of view. I can't remember.
It's in one of the Aftermath books, I believe. Yeah, he's doing street tricks.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a street performer because all the kids think he's amusing. It's actually really, really sad. It's
incredibly sad. At the same time, he is not really upset about it. He just kind of accepts that it's his.
Jar Jar's a vibe, bro. You know? I love Jar Jar.
Yeah, he's a total vibe. I think he should get a redemption arc, not like a redemption of his character because he's always been the same, but like he needs to be given more respect as a character.
Do you remember that comic where like him and Captain Rex, he has like a clone rifle or like a lightsaber or something, and they like kill battle droids?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I remember
it's that. There's a super hard like panel where like he's got the true respect there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, all right, Jar Jar, go off, man.
Go off, Jar Jar.
Be that Jedi that we always wanted but not hoped for. You know.
See. Oh, you have some friends that want him to be. I mean, listen. The meme is funny that some people really want him to be a Sith Lord. And I'm like, just in a what if. Sure, man, make him the actual, but yeah,
they have to make a what if episode out of that.
It's got like the Star Wars community would go insane just for like a Darth Jar Jar, man.
That would be the highest rating episode.
Absolutely, it would be not even just in Star Wars, but in all of television.
Yeah, like Jar Jar are the secret Sith Lord behind everything.
Some people think so.
It'd actually be really funny if like the what if episode ends with like it saying, also, this isn't a what if episode. This actually happened.
This is canon.
Because now I gotta read Grayson the Dark Plagueis book.
Oh, so good.
I gotta read
so good.
I have it. I'm trying to finish up Thrawn's story. So I want to read Thrawn's story because there's so many books to Thrawn's story. It's like, and then now you have the comic books. It's like, oh, I love it, but like, stop. Like, I want to finish reading. God.
Yeah, well, the comics that are coming out right now are just adaptations of the book. So, like, with the first, they did the first Thrawn one, and then the new one with Anakin, I'm forgetting, is that Thrawn Alliances. That's just a 4-issue, comic version of the novel. So if you already read the novel, you don't have to read the book or the comic. But yeah. It's just basically they do that a lot with like the TV shows and stuff. Like The Mandalorian, they redid the entire show in a comic book form, and I'm like, that's cool, but like, why? I don't like. It's just a neat thing to kind of have to collect. But yeah, like basically, from what I understand, there's in canon with Thrawn, it's Rebels, and then the 6 Thrawn books that they did, because they did the Thrawn Alliances, and Thrawn Ascendancy, and then they did 3 more Thrawn books.
Yeah, the newer books, like the Lesser Evil.
Yes.
And they have like Thrawn, I have it right here. The Ascendancy, Lesser Evil, and then they have Thrawn Alliances with the Anakin cover with him. And now they made that a comic book, which I like. They made that a book.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of it's pretty interesting that storyline, at least I'm pretty sure, Thrawn and either Anakin or Vader, I can't remember at the time, they go to Batuu, which is where the theme parks take place, which is pretty cool. Black Spire Outpost. And I'm a big Black Spire Outpost guy. I love that place. So I that was kind of in their like marketing push when that was coming out. I think that was 2019 that the park dropped, and then a couple months later there was Rise of Skywalker and Mando. So it was a pretty like compact time. I'm sure probably in Mando season 4 or something he'll probably end up going to Batuu or Black Spire Outpost or whatever. But yeah, Plagueis is phenomenal. I'm really hoping they, at this point in time, going by legends and canon, like if we're including that stuff, he's probably my favorite Sith Lord, or one of my favorites. He is just incredible. Like how much he's set up for Palpatine is kind of insane.
And then Palpatine killed him.
Yeah. The tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. But yeah, our next book. This is kind of a reveal, but not really. But
hey.
Should I wait?
No, you can't.
The next book we're gonna be reading as a crew on Tales from the Archives will be Dark Disciple with Ventress and Quinlan Voss.
That's a good book. I read that.
So yeah, I actually have never read it, but it's about 100 pages shorter than Plagueis. We break the book into chunks, so we don't do like the entire book in one live stream. We'll like basically we started Plagueis at the end of December, and we're finishing it up in like a week and a half, and then we'll probably do Dark Disciple in 2 parts, basically like 150 pages. But yeah, with that reveal in Bad Batch, man, like I'm like, I want to see what happened, you know? And I know, like, I know the ending of Dark Disciple, but I'm curious. I just want to read that story in general, because I think Ventress is a very underrated character.
Even Quinlan Voss is underrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I love Quinlan.
I love
he needs
Quinlan,
more.
because he didn't, like, Quinlan, when we saw him in the Clone Wars, he was like a cool, like,
Dude,
like
bro.
Jason Momoa character.
Yes,
you know?
yes, he was just like Jason Momoa.
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, dude, like we're just gonna like just do this, you know? Come on, Obi-Wan, follow my lead. And Obi-Wan's like, yeah, I'm not following you. I'm not following you. You're like reckless.
Yeah.
And it's like, and
he's like a worse version of Anakin in terms of his like recklessness.
Yes, but even with Quinlan, like he can feel the Force through the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could feel what happened here. What happened? Like, to me, that's why he survived Order 66. You know, because he could feel that. He could feel that before, and he's just a wizard by like just jumping obstacles. Like he's kind of like a druid in a way. Like he's Tarzan. Can I say Tarzan?
Yeah, that's fair.
I can say Tarzan. Like he's like that. Like, okay, I feel the ground.
Got the same type of hair.
Like just going right over Order 66. He could tell. And then you see with Azaz Ventress, she survives. You know, and we know how that book ends. It's a great book, Dark Disciple. I'm about to join this book club. You know?
Yeah, the 6 of us, and we try to encourage people to read along with us and kind of hop in the chat so we can talk about it together. But yeah, that's the next book up after that, and then so I'm pretty excited. It was basically a way to create a way for people to, even if they didn't want to read the books, for them to be able to kind of go in these like bigger but bite-sized sections of like a couple hours at a time to just hear us talking about it and to kind of expand people's knowledge, because there's a lot of books out there. I mean, sorry, I always get confused. Right there, that top shelf and the shelf underneath that is just chock full of Star Wars books, and I think only like a third of them I've read. So yeah, I actually have lately been more intrigued to read Legend stuff, because there's kind of less of a commitment, or not less of a commitment, but it's like with the canon books, there's sometimes retconned very quickly. Like like the Ahsoka book, for example, like, and listen, the Ahsoka book is great, but season 7 and Tales of the Jedi kind of undid a lot of the stuff set up in that book, you know? And I remember that was the very first canon book. No, it wasn't the very first, but it was one of the first that I read. And I was like, oh, this is sick. Like, because season 7 wasn't out at that point. And I read it and I was like, this is so cool. And then when season 7 actually happened, I was like, wait, she has blue lightsabers now? I thought she had green. And then the way like she captures Maul is completely different. And I'm cool with that now, because like there's a quote out there from Sam Witwer where he's like, it's okay if these stories are different, you know, like in this story, her lightsabers are green, in this story, her lightsabers are blue. Like it doesn't really ultimately doesn't change anything, because both Tales of the Jedi and season 7, what happens in those two and what happens in the book is basically the same. It's just up to kind of your interpretation of which way you want to go with it, and it doesn't ultimately affect the greater story. Either way, Ahsoka becomes Fulcrum and she gets the white lightsabers. Like that's really all you need to know. And so it's just kind of the way the story goes. But yeah, I really just wanted to, Cole and I especially, we would always talk about like, oh, we need to read this book, like that'd be so cool, and oh, we need to read this book and this book. And so being able to find like-minded individuals and have these like really kind of deep discussions about, you know, not even just the plot, but like the subtext and the writing techniques and stuff is really fun. It helps expand my mind.
Yeah,
a Star Wars mind.
Exactly. I'm always about expanding my Star Wars mind, even though it's technically useless information, but
hey, not entirely useless.
It's true.
Now, guys, my final question to you guys is, I'm going to ask Cole first and then Grayson. Cole, who are your favorite top 3 Star Wars characters and why?
Ooh. Top 3.
I already know mine.
See, for me, it's kind of I go back and forth. I would say
I could take a guess for Cole. I think I know what they are, but I don't know.
Man.
We know one of them is General Grievous.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he's my favorite villain, but I don't know if he's in my top 3.
Oh wow.
I know that you said that you were gonna ask me first, but do you want to ask Grayson first, just to give you some time to think?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'll go from the bottom, from 3 to 2 to 1. 3 is Ben Solo / Kylo Ren. Love him. He's my favorite character in the sequels and basically carried them. I just want more with his character. Number 2, at least right now, it could change, but number 2 is Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Oh, wow.
Big Din Djarin fan. And then number 1 is Caleb Doom, aka Kanan Jarrus. He is the man and one of my favorite characters of all time. So that's my top 3.
I love Kanan.
He's the best, man. I love Kanan so much.
Okay, so I think for me right now, just while it's in my head, so I think number 3 is Cal Kestis.
Oh yeah, I love that dude.
He's one of my. Ever since I played Jedi Survivor, I'm like, man, I love this character so much.
Yes,
I think that game just did so much for him, in my eyes. Number 2 is Luke Skywalker. Just, one of my top 10 just iconic characters of all time. One of my personal original heroes, and then my number 1 is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Always will be. I love Obi-Wan.
Good.
What about you, man?
Mine?
We know who your number 1 is.
Maybe it's not. No, I'm messing with you. It's Ahsoka, because, I love Ahsoka. That's just it, In the beginning, we didn't love her. She was a bratty teenager.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't love her, but I still was like, I didn't get bothered by her,
I didn't either.
Like, I wasn't bothered. Like, some people, hated her. I'm like, how you hate her? Like, she's a regular girl. Like, that's how girls are, bratty. When they're, that age. Like, that's how they are. Like, that's how I was, that's why I didn't mind it, because that's my whole life. They just talk and gamble. So I didn't mind by that, So my second one is Anakin, because, you have your dark days and you have your light days, you have that in-between in life. Like, you're going to go through your ups and downs. But how do you overcome your ups and downs? That's the biggest thing. Like, with Anakin, definitely he didn't solve those.
You turn into a mass-murdering robot machine man.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to start murdering people because
I hope not.
Just catch me on the news later. Oh, damn it, Chris. Oh, that was such a good guy.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, we filmed for an hour. Now our episode's never going to premiere because of this kid. God, how did you do that? What have I done, And then my third one is Ezra. I really love Ezra's story.
Ezra, he's great, man. The Ezra hate needs to stop.
Like, I really love Ezra. Like, I think what Tyler Gray did with that character, too, the voice actor, he really knocked it out of the park. And then you get Ahsoka, which that was perfect casting, Iman, of Ezra, was his mannerisms off a little? I didn't really,
It's pretty close, though.
Yeah, pretty close, yeah. But, you get, I said, I'm team animation all the way. I'll fight live action any day of the week, That's, I will. I'll fight them, So
what is if you are team animation, then I'm curious, what is your favorite live action movie then? Even if you prefer animation. Revenge of the Sith. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I love Revenge of the Sith. I think, because now you watch it, I can go watch it again and then try to put the pieces together with Anakin, because you got the Clone Wars. Now you got Tales of the Jedi. You got Ahsoka in Revenge of the Sith, technically. You got her in there. I think someone made the poster of the Revenge of the Sith with the Clone Wars characters. And I have that poster. I made it into a movie poster.
That's so cool.
So Did
you see the Hello There animation do the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan? So good, dude.
So good. I feel like if they really want to do something like that, they could.
Oh yeah.
They could just add we got that story, but do it in animation. You know, see how much
Yeah.
I heard back then, not to get off topic, but I heard back then they were making animation movies for Disney Plus.
Yeah, there was.
Like
Surely that's got to happen at some point.
Yeah, like for exclusively only on Disney Plus. Like you have to be a subscriber. It's not going to be in the movies. It's just going to be and you can make the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith a whole movie. You know, you can make that. Like, and do the voice actors, bring Matt back, bring James, bring Ashley, even with the What If. Like, if What If is definitely going to be animation, bring all the. I think they'll of course bring all them back. But like, look at that. Like, look how they define that character. You know, look at what they do with the character. You know, and that's the biggest thing for me is like, even with Sabine, with Tia, like how did Tia bring that character to life? You know, like Natasha, she really didn't bring that character for life for me. You know, to me, they didn't really do their homework. Rosario Dawson is the only one to me that did their homework on Ahsoka. She watched everything. She captured the mannerisms. That's why I accept Rosario Dawson as my Ahsoka. As not my Ahsoka, but the Ahsoka of live action. Because look what she did. She did the homework. Hera, she really didn't do the homework. Ezra.
You don't think so?
No,
I loved Hera.
I really didn't. I didn't feel that with Hera. They really missed out with Sabine too, with Natasha. Natasha wasn't really didn't give me that Sabine.
What about Ezra though? Because I feel like in Mons Fondy, like that. I was like that. I mean, that's Ezra.
No, that's Ezra. Yeah, that's Ezra really on the corner. You know, that's a live action Ezra. Like they casted him perfectly. You know, his like, and with his mannerisms too, they were on and then off point. You know, like. They could have been more dialogue between Iman and Natasha, you know, their characters.
I definitely think there could have been.
There could have been more, you know. Even with Chopper, like Chopper didn't have any death, you know, he didn't kill anybody. Like I wanted that.
He wanted to though.
Yeah, like
he's always wanting to.
But he didn't get that. Like in Rebels, he had the most deaths. You know, he killed so many people. You know, like we missed all that in the live action. And I understand you're trying to tell a story in 8 episodes, which they did. They did tell a story from episode 1 to 8. We understand that, but look what you did in animation. Now you're bringing that to live action. Look what you look at what you hit and missed.
I think there was a grand. I'll be honest. I disagree with Dave when he was like, "Oh, Ahsoka is Rebel season 5," you know, and I'm like. Yeah, kinda. Like, it really helps to watch Rebels, but, like, ultimately the show is about Ahsoka, so, like, I know a lot of people, they were like, oh, man, why wasn't Zeb in the show, and why wasn't Callus in the show? And it's like, listen, I love those characters, but I think they included just the right amount for the characters that they needed. Like, I personally, like, and it's cool that you don't agree, whatever, but I really like Sabine in the show. I think she got a lot of flack. Now, I do think Tia Sakar is kind of the more definitive version of that character in Rebels, but like I think all the casting was really good, and I liked but I mean at the end of the day, like the core characters, it was about Ahsoka, you know, and there's a new cast of characters, and I think the inclusion of, you know, even the little bit you get from Chopper, my favorite connection from Rebels to Ahsoka was Jason Syndulla.
Yeah, that
was phenomenal, and that, like, in that episode Shadow Warrior, you know, with the Anakin flashback and everything, or with the flashbacks in general, Jason is one of my favorite parts of that episode because I'm a Kanan fanboy, but being able to see, like, man, Kanan Jarrus' son, you know, and like being able to like kind of be this beacon of the Force to help Hera like see what's actually happening, to be able to hear this lightsabers clashing. I'm like, dude, this kid is powerful in the Force, man. Like, I really, really hope Ezra trains him. Please.
Now, I'm going to ask Grayson, who now, Freddie Prinze Jr. said, like, he won't be coming back to Star Wars to voice Kanan. He said he's done. His story's done. Who would you want? I think Freddie would do a good job live action Kanan.
Sure, yeah.
I think he would do great. But who do you think, if Freddie doesn't come back, to play your live action Kanan?
So, I'll go ahead and preface, I kind of hate the idea of a live action Kanan. I just kind of don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
I will always say this. Kanan is kind of a perfect character where you get the beginning of his story, you get the end of his story, and it's done. Lightning in a bottle. You don't need any more, right?
Yeah, I think that's what Freddie Prinze Jr. thinks as well.
Exactly. He didn't even want to do the cameo in Bad Batch, which I'm like, dude, it's just a cameo in Bad Batch. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, like, who I would want to... I mean, honestly, like, I'd have to really think about it if they were gonna do it. I'd really just kind of prefer if they cast someone unknown, because you'd have to go. I mean, unless you're going like Force Ghost route, you'd have to go for like a younger Kanan, because Kanan is only like not. I think he's like
right?
he's like he's like in his mid-20s to like maybe at the maybe he dies when he's like 30. I think like he's not that old. So. You'd have to go for a younger guy, so cast me. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. Man, I think they would have to go with like Natasha and Amon. They were both relatively unknown actors and actresses, so I think it'd be better to go for maybe an unknown actor. But that'd be something I'd have to do to do some research on. Get Tom Holland. No, I'm kidding. Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's doing a lot right now. He's doing Garfield, Mario. You know, he could do Keenan.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, definitely don't.
Keep Chris. I love you, Chris Pratt. Stay away. Stay away, man.
Yeah, because Keenan is that character. That you got his story, you got his comics, you got his story, and now you finish his story. Now you can bring him back in Tales of the Jedi if you really want to. Like,
I really think they are at this point.
I really think they should as a Force Ghost.
I would love. Honestly, with Tales of the Jedi, like the last time that you see him, at least in visual media, with that being the shows and just the shows, I guess, is he's the first time we see him is in Clone Wars Season 7, then Bad Batch. We also see him in Tales of the Jedi a little bit. But in terms of like timeline wise, it's literally Bad Batch, and then you don't see him again until Rebels. So there's like 15 years of like him growing up because he's a kid. So I would love to see in Tales of the Jedi of like, if they keep it faithful, adapt the comic book where he meets Janice Casimir and he starts to become a smuggler and he goes into hiding and he kind of That's what I want. I want, 3 episodes, not even 3 episodes. You could just give me 1 episode of that and I'd be fine. Of just kind of seeing him age up a little bit. And if you also wanted to, you could do, now there wouldn't be a whole lot of Jedi action in here, but you could also do the Kanan book, A New Dawn, where him and Hera meet for the first time. That would be a really good story to go.
And then even with Ezra training Jason in animation, and Kanan watching over them,
That'd be so cool. It makes me worried, the sequels, because it's like, okay, we don't know what happens with Ezra yet, and we don't know what happens with Jason either. Yeah. Like, I hope Jason doesn't die, but like, I want Jason to be a Jedi so badly. Like, Rey movie? Anyone? Old Jason Syndulla? Just saying. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Because one of my favorite things, and I've preached this to Cole all the time. At this point, it's become a broken record that like if I could change one thing in canon, is that I wish Luke would have actually established the new Jedi Order, like properly. What you see in the sequels is kind of just like a fledgling of what the potential of a Jedi Order is, and so now they're like, oh, Rey's gonna start the new Jedi Order. I'm like, but in the 30 years that Luke was around, he couldn't do that. Like, and in Legends, like that, he does that. He rebuilds the Jedi Order and makes it what it should have been before the fall, before the Jedi lost their way. And so, like, I mean, it would be a pipe dream if, like, where you get, Luke and Ben and Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra and Jason and Cal and Kata from Jedi Survivor. Like, that is a really good ensemble cast of Jedi characters right there.
And Kyle Katarn.
Yeah, bring in Kyle Katarn, bro. Sorry, that's my Legends
and Mara
guy.
Jade.
Dude, Mara Jade, bro. Anyway.
Well, see, an interesting way that they could do that, because Star Wars loves retconning their new comics. They could just say that he did do that. That what if we actually did get this Jedi Order, but then something happened where they didn't agree with the way Luke wanted to run things, so they split from him. That could be another way to kind of explain Luke's depression in the sequel trilogy of going like they didn't trust me to be, you know, the Jedi Master. You know, I wasn't trusted. I failed.
With the sequels, like they made it look like Ben Solo destroyed everything.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, they did. I'm just saying that it could be in like a Clone Wars sense where they soft retcon it. Yeah, it's like, well, we didn't technically say that. You know, there wasn't another, or you know, I don't know.
That's one thing I can give benefit of the doubt, sorta, kinda, is that like in Rise of Skywalker, like there's no line that says there's no other Jedi around, right? It's just that like for as far as we know, Rey is really the only Jedi around. Now it would upset me because it would be in a different universe. It would have been awesome to have characters like that, even if in their older state, to be able with Rey to confront Palpatine, you know.
Yeah.
But we ain't getting that.
We ain't getting those Force ghosts, you know.
Yeah, that is one thing as well with even with Rise of Skywalker that I think would have added a lot for people is even just a Force ghost of Hayden would have done wonders for that movie, you know.
The problem is that I don't think that Disney was comfortable with that at the time.
They didn't love Hayden like they love him now.
Now they are comfortable with it, which now would be the perfect time for the sequel movies to come out.
Yeah.
But too little, too late.
Definitely.
Perhaps too much, too late.
I know, and then they're having a movie third. Like, how many years is the Rey movie gonna be for the Rise of Skywalker?
I think it's like since Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019, I think the Rey movie is supposed to come out in like 2 or 3 years, maybe 2026. So it'll have been 7 years since we've gotten a Star Wars movie in theaters.
No. What's the timeline? How many years? 10?
Oh,
10?
I think they said 15 years. Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous to me. Like,
it's weird.
That is
interesting jump.
Yeah, why would you do 15 years? Wouldn't you do the first 5?
Yeah,
like, right after the Rise of Skywalker, what did you do? Like, then you see Rey, like maybe do
Rey like fell asleep for a long time.
Finding like, yeah, like what do you slept for 15 years now you finally wake up?
That's the one thing that like it's the same thing that bothers me with Luke, is I'm like, dude, you had all this time, like, and I get it. The galaxy is big. It's hard to get Force sensitive people. You're the only guy, but like, surely with your assistance in like, Luke is literally the brother of one of the head honchos in the New Republic, like. Surely you can use some forces that go out in the galaxy and find Force-sensitive individuals and not take, but like volunteer, but like, hey, like, you know, I don't know. It's tough. It's just...
I will say though, even though like this is technically PR speak, Daisy did say that the story that she was approached with, she was a really big fan of. I remember like reading this interview where she was like, she was fully prepared to say, okay, see you in another 5 to 7 years when you have a better story, you know, but she really likes this one. So I'm cautiously optimistic about what they're going to do here. We'll just have to see.
Maybe the movie starts and she's already has a couple of people that are already Jedi.
Exactly.
You know?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe it's like 10 or so years in, but she's still trying to figure things out. So
they better get John Boyega, dude. Like I'm getting worried at this point that the fact like in that interview she was asked like, oh, how do you feel about, you know, and she kind of dodged the question, like, which gives me the possibility that he could show up, but she says like, the interviewer asked like, how do you feel with not having like kind of your regular co-stars from that trilogy, and she basically just kind of says like, I'm not really worried about it because I don't really know anything yet, like I don't really.
Yeah, it was essentially kind of like, well, I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know if I'm going to be without them.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, I doubt
she probably hasn't read the script yet, probably just the Jedic. Like
I would say, yeah, she probably read, like, Charmin probably told her the bullet point version and was like, oh, here's the plot for your character, but like, but we don't know like who's gonna be in the movie and stuff, but I mean, like, I just want to see Rey and Finn be Jedi together. Like, it should have happened in the sequels. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, make up for your mistakes. Like, if you're setting up he's Force sensitive, do it, you know? Because like, and here's my passion for this has increased like tenfold within the past couple months, because I think I told this story. Did I tell this story on our podcast? I don't know. I'm going to tell it again. I went to Galaxy's Edge. So we both used to be cast members at Disney. And so anyway, my girlfriend still lives down there, so I go and visit her very often. So anyway, I was in Galaxy's Edge one night, and I was getting pictures with my lightsaber and stuff, and we ran into some people that my dad knew. And they had a kid. He was probably... I want to say he was no older than 7, no younger than 5, maybe, yeah, I think he's about 7 years old. And so I remember he was blown away by my lightsaber because it's not a cheapo Disney lightsaber, like it's high quality. And I was like showing him the stuff, and then I asked him, I was like, well, who's your favorite Star Wars character? And without a beat, he said Finn. Finn was his favorite, you know, and he was a black kid, and that immediately was like, to anybody who's like, oh, representation doesn't matter, you know, like I know it doesn't matter to everybody, but like if I think about, I mean, I'll just be honest, like when I was a kid, like I identified with like Peter Parker, you know, he was a nerdy white kid with brown hair, like that got picked on. That was Spider-Man was my thing, but it's like that representation does matter, and to be like, well, you know, as a Star Wars fan. Finn, I don't hate his character, but he's not a very well-developed character, like, and they took a lot of missteps, and honestly, I agree with John Boyega, they did that character dirty. Yeah. And it's like, really the only Jedi that's black that we know of is Sam Jackson, Mace Windu, and Mace Windu is kind of a jerk, bro, like, whereas Finn, in my opinion, he's a good dude, like, and if you're gonna set up, like, to have this new generation of Jedi, like, in my opinion, Finn could basically, I think, like, I don't really need Kyle Katarn to be in canon, because Finn can kind of be the new Kyle Katarn. Like, he helped destroy, not the Death Star, but Starkiller Base. He was an ex-Stormtrooper, so for context, Kyle Katarn was a Stormtrooper turned Imperial officer, who then became a mercenary for the Rebellion, who then found out he was Force-sensitive, who then became a Jedi, who then became one of the Jedi Master in Luke's temple. That could just be Finn's story right there, like, Stormtrooper turned rebel mercenary or rebel fighter, Force sensitive, turned Jedi to Jedi Master and raised new things. Just let that happen. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, if there's no Kyle Katarn, Finn could fill that role. Give him a blaster, give him a lightsaber, bam.
It would be so wild to see a Finn 15 years down the line as a Jedi Master. I just think that would be so cool.
I want it.
And that would mean so much for just kids around the world. Like, and I remember I was telling this kid, I was like, well, I don't know anything for sure, but there's rumors that he might come back as a Jedi. And he was like, no way, you know, like that's just, and I just think I put myself in like his shoes, and I'm like, dude, I'd go crazy for that, man. I'm going crazy for it right now. Like, make that happen. Like, the idea that, in my opinion, the sequel trilogy, like, you have these iconic trios, right? Like, you know, in the prequel trilogy, you have Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme, and it's like, okay, you've got 2 main Jedi characters, right? And they're both guys, and then you've got a strong female character with Padme, right? She's a senator, but she's also a fighter. And then you get your next kind of main trio where you've got one Jedi who's also a guy, and then you've got kind of the smuggler type, and then you've got Leia, who, again, more of that senator kind of fighter type. But then I loved that they made Rey kind of the main character, that she was the Jedi. But it's like, in the prequel, we had 2 main Jedi people in that trio. Like, it should have been like, oh, you know, bait and switch, Rey's actually is the Jedi, but it's like, oh, but there's still something a little bit there for Finn, you know? And by that 3rd movie, it should have been Rey and Finn as the Jedi, and their kind of smuggler pilot friend with Poe. Like, that to me, like, I just like envisioning that trio would have been so powerful to have, to have in the sequel trilogy your first main character as a female Jedi and a black Jedi, like female. I'm like, that's, and people can complain that it's woke or whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's unprecedented, and that would have been amazing. And nobody, like, people want that now. Like, that's the thing, is people, like, that's what I'm like, the whole woke thing is stupid, because I'm like, everybody in the fandom, even the people who didn't like the sequels, want Finn as a Jedi. So I don't know.
Foretold.
Yeah.
It was like, you told us, like, okay, this guy has something, and then you just go like, okay, he's just a normal guy. Yeah,
they were like, oh, he's like, because the posters, right? He had him with the lightsaber, and like, it shows like, yeah, he wasn't the best with the lightsaber, but he was competent enough. And it's like, no, actually raised the Jedi. Oh, that's cool. But then you're like, you start to get those teasers like, wait, maybe Finn does have something. It's like they set that up, and I think not only was John Boyega upset with the way they handled that, but I think the fandom was in general, to be able to, like, I still think of like the visual of when they fight Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker, if Finn had been a Jedi by that time, of like, there's that shot of Rey and Ben where they like pull up their lightsabers, but I loved the idea of like it being Rey and then Finn and then Ben, like all 3 of them kind of having like a secondary trio, you know, while Poe is obviously up in the sky doing his thing. Like, it's a shame. So give John Boyega his bag, put him in the script. Let's get it going.
Yeah, for real.
Now, guys, before we go, where can everybody find you on the social medias?
You can find us at MortisFM on Instagram. That's where we mainly do our social stuff. And then on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts as well. YouTube is just also at MortisFM. And yeah, if you go to there, you can find all the links to everything in the description on any one of our videos. We just dropped our Mandalorian Season 1 retrospective after almost 5 years of that show being out. We wanted to go back and look at that. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Takes us down memory lane. Mm-hmm. But I will put all your links in the bios, guys. Thank you for joining the Scevoli TANO show today, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate the Mortis gods, you know, the MortisFM gods. You know, that's how
we appreciate them too.
We're the MortisFM guys.
We're we're just like the dudes, you know.
We're just the dudes, not the gods. They can't heal me. They can't heal what I'm going through. They can't.
Sorry, man.
But thank you guys for joining me today.
Of course.
Make sure you guys subscribe down below to the YouTube channel, the Scevoli TANO Show, for more awesome Star Wars in the skies. And be kind to one another, and may the fools be with you, my friends. Always. Bye!
In my life, when you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what.